wheels. So I got the mower on jack stands. Made a few repairs to some damage in the sheet metal. Had a couple of cracks where it was bolted down. So I've welded up the cracks. There's cracked all along here. Welded them up, re-drilled, repainted and put some mud guard washers there. Prevent any future damage. I've also found 2 cracks under here. Stress cracks, so I fixed that. One on this side as well, that's all been fixed. A local mower centre, local mower repair shops. Can't get parts for these mowers anymore. I've painted the deck. That's all been taken a couple of takes each side of that deck. That's a nice deck, if I don't say so myself. Painted that part, goes on top of there, that's what the coupling and the mounts go on. That's where the spindle and everything goes through that plate. There's a pulley. All the bits are in there. I got me some new bearings. I didn't have enough NSKs in stock, so I got a Japanese NSK and a Chinese Timken bearing. Probably put this on the bottom so I can get to it if it fails. Should probably will be in a Chinese bearing, but just what I had in stock. So they're done. I'm just in the process of just painted the wheels with some leftover fridge. I had the paint I used on my Kelvinator. I still had some half a can left over from this project, and I used some of that appliance paint on these wheels. It matches the original white pretty good, but it's shitful for things like this. Gotta get some decent paint. The bushings have to be rebuilt for these front wheels. They're kind of floppy, I don't like it. I can get this new cast iron Boss, but it's $140. So I ordered one off eBay, a Massport equivalent, which is a mild steel coated, like this sort of galvanised, zinc coated I mean. A zinc coated mild steel Boss I've ordered off eBay. Hopefully that's going to fit. Couldn't for the life of me get this to push apart, so I took it to a local engineering shop and they did it for me. I got a quote to make up a whole new shaft. It's about $300 to machine up a new shaft, so well, I'm going to take the cheapest option I can and just fill it up with weld, and I'm going to grind it all down and just manually machine it using good old fashioned hard manual labour. There was an arm, I think it was a South Bend lathe, like Aussie 50s, a bit smaller, locally for sale for $50. I messaged the guy 4 times about it. Yeah, I'm interested in this, I can get it. Give me your time and everything, blah blah blah. And the arsehole never replied to me, and he sold it, bloody prick. I hate face cook for that. People like that are frickin' scum. I didn't really want to go to Adelaide and buy a lathe at Paramount Browns. Man, they're okay for Chinese lathes, but I want something old-fashioned and good old British or Australian steel I can make things on, because I could have easily had that lathe. Had it, I would have made something on it already. I could have easily have turned this on the lathe and made my own bit. But this is the next best thing. Just going to cut this off with a cutting wheel, and then going to just finish it off with a grinder. Fix this up myself, the cheapest way I can do it. Redo that little bit, just so the key doesn't flop around. All that's to do is just stop the thing from flopping around, so that the pulley sits centre and it doesn't wobble. That's all it's going to do. I've priced it. I got a whole new you can buy a complete spindle for it on eBay. It's got it for Massport. I found Massport and Toray spindles, but they're a bit too tall for this particular mower. They will stick out too high. And I'll have to modify all the mechanism underneath here to fit the new steel accommodate the new spindle. That'd be too much of a pain in the ass, so I want to keep this mower as original as I can. I can't even get a new blade. The blade's even discontinued for this mower. So I might even try what they suggested to do was just get a piece of high tensile steel, or use a solid blade and cut the I'm going to put the blade something like this, a bit of high tensile steel, and then just drill holes in the end and put easily obtainable replaceable lawnmower blades on that and use that. I don't know where I put the blade, but it's here somewhere. I just started sharpening it, so the blade was still got plenty of life left in it, it's just worn out. Anyway, let's get this thing fixed. A bit of redneck machining here. Not too bad, if I don't say so myself. Not bad at all. I might have to take some nicks out of here. That might be a bit of a challenge to nick that bit of weld out so the key can get back in there. We'll see how it goes. There's more meat there now, it worked out better than I thought. Not perfect, but it's still going to work. I could have filled all this whole thing in with weld, re-turned it in the lathe and re-milled out this slot. For the tools and equipment I could do it myself easy. But that's the best it's going to have to do for now without those machines, those access to those sorts of tools. Worked out better than I thought. Look at that, nice and straight. Oh, look at that. That's worked out straighter than I thought. There's no bobble there at all. There was a bit of play in it, but I put a bit of shim in the opposite side to stop the play. That's alright, but that's just a braking plate there, that's a bit off centre, but that's alright. That's worked out better than I thought. Nice! Happy with how that's worked out. Huh, don't have to replace this shaft after all. Look at that! Perfect! Now the fun part's put it back onto the mower now. That's a bit of a... That'll be nice and fun. Okay, viewers, well I got it all back together, just gotta put the blade back on now. I got the boss oiled up in there and cleaned it all out and polished it and put a bit of protective grease in there so I can get that off easily again in the future. When the new one arrives, I may not need to change it. I just I ground a bit out of the cracks and just weld it with a MIG welder, high current. You can't really do that, but it's holding. Yeah, it's only bolted together anyway, so it's just going to stop it from flying apart. There's bolts that are all going to hold it together. That goes in the boss and that goes in the blade. I've sharpened up the blade a little bit. Nice and sharp. Still got a bit of life left in it. It will still do the job. And this mower's pretty much done. And just got to get in the muffler off, and I'll fit the muffler on, and that's good. Pretty much good to go. It's a bit hard to start when it's cold. Yeah, I'm mowing the lawn now. The brake don't work. The brake's going to be adjusted. Oops, no, I'm putting too much stress on the motor still. Okay. I got to work on that, but it did sound pretty good. Let's see if it starts. Oh, the clutch needs oil. I gotta fix that. Oh dear. I have to fix that starter clutch. Okay, the catch don't work on the starter. Oh, well, that's typical of bibs at this age. Sometimes the felt dries up with oil and the balls don't fly back into the catches. That's not going to work now. Anyway, I'll go on to that next, fix that up next. Other than that, good to go. Thanks for watching.